Hello, my friends. Coach here and Nick from Echo Base Network, bringing you another Star Wars news roundup where we discuss the happenings of the week. Today's episode includes a whole lot of information about Disney Plus subscribers and merch, the Mandalorian Season 3's final trailer and premiere, The Acolyte is actually filming, the real-life Ahsokas finally meet in real life, the 10-year anniversary of the Disney purchase, and lastly, is Lucasfilm worried about the next Star Wars movie? As always, you can find timestamps in the description below. And please, guys, hit that like button and subscribe. Join us here at Echo Base Network. In today's opening news story, Disney Plus subscribers are getting first dibs at new Marvel and Star Wars merchandise. Today, the company announced a limited test in the U.S. that will grant Disney Plus subscribers access to a mix of holiday merchandise from Star Wars, Black Panther, Frozen, and more. The exclusive deal will last for 7 days. Disney Plus subscribers can access the deals directly from the web. If you decide to make a purchase, you will have to authenticate your Disney Plus credentials to check out. Some specific Star Wars related items include the Mandalorian Darksaber Legacy set, Luke Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi Battle of Heroes Legacy lightsaber set, Ahsoka Tano Legacy lightsaber hilts signed by Ashley Eckstein, and an Ahsoka Tano Special Edition doll signed by Ashley. Disney is rumored to be exploring the possibility of a subscription like Amazon Prime that would bundle offerings across its massive scope of products and services. And this might represent the company testing the waters before expanding to something more ambitious.
So I'm sure some people are going to be excited about this special merch that only Disney Plus subscribers can get. I unfortunately am not a Disney Plus subscriber. I actually got a hookup on another account, so I won't be able to get any of this stuff, but I hate these exclusive, merchandise deals that you can only get this stuff in one way. They should just release it to everybody. All the stores should carry it. Same thing with like Target exclusive merch or Walmart exclusive merch or something. I've never really been a fan of that. Now the stuff mentioned, I'm not really all that interested in anyways, but I'm sure a lot of you guys will be. So if you're Disney Plus subscribers, hey, you'll be able to go on there and check some of it out.
And just for clarification, it's Disney Plus subscribers, they get early access, 7 days of early access before it's open to everybody else. Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, and Leia Organa are available in Fortnite. Each character comes with 3 skins. Luke Skywalker comes with his farm boy look from A New Hope, along with his black outfit from Return of the Jedi, one version with a cloak and one without. Luke's other items includes the X-34 Landspeeder as his glider, the Marksman H training remote as his back bling, and a slug thrower rifle as his pickaxe. Leia Organa arrives with her A New Hope look, along with her Leia Bush disguise seen in Return of the Jedi, one version with the helmet and one without. Lastly, we have Han Solo, who sports his iconic look from A New Hope, as well as his outfits from Return of the Jedi, including his indoor trench coat. Unlike Luke, Han and Leia do not come with a glider. Instead, the pair come with a Millennium Falcon and R2-D2 as back blings, as well as vibro swords as pickaxes. You'll be able to purchase everything by buying the 5,000 V-Bucks bundle, which costs $31.99. Hasbro has announced new Star Wars figures, including Mara Jade and Knights of the Old Republic Darth Malak Black Series figures. Many fans of the Star Wars EU have been hopeful that the inclusion of Mara Jade toy to the lineup could be an indication that we may see her in a live-action Star Wars show down the road. But the box is stamped with the words Legacy Character and could make this less likely. Time will tell.
Dang, $32 for some skins on Fortnite. I'm not a big Fortnite guy. I'm sure a lot of you guys are out there, so I'm sure you guys will be happy about spending money on these skins. Even if I had the game, I probably wouldn't spend that kind of money on just some skins. But, teach their own. As far as the Mara Jade figure, I think that's an interesting release. I'm curious if they're releasing that to see how well it sells. And if it does sell well, if they're going to be looking at trying to bring her in live action or maybe even animated show at some point in time. But, yeah, I'll be curious to see what happens with that later on.
And in our next news update, The Mandalorian Season 3's final trailer release is coming this Christmas, according to MakingStarWars.net. They also confirmed that the rumor of Bo-Katan and Din Djarin being enemies and battling one another are false, and that the two continue to be allies. Christopher Lloyd will also appear in the trailer, who has been cast as one of the leaders of a Mandalorian tribe. The trailer is planned to drop on Christmas Day, while the poster for Season 3 releases on December 14th. It has also been leaked that the show will debut on February 22nd. This is the way. Nick, I'm excited about some Mandalorian Season 3, baby. Poster, trailer, show, let's go.
Yeah, so that makes sense. They're releasing the poster first, so we can kind of get a look at, the characters that are going to be involved. I don't know how much the poster is going to have on it, but the trailer, that's what I'm waiting to see. And then as far as Bo-Katan and Din Djarin being enemies, that just doesn't make sense. So I can totally believe that is false. I could see them actually working together and her maybe taking a step back and being like, hey, Din Djarin, he's a good guy. He won the dark saber in combat, and I could see her, kind of sidestepping that role of hers of wanting to kind of be the ruler of Mandalore and kind of getting behind him and letting him be the ruler of Mandalore, if that's the route that they're taking with the show. But I don't know. We'll see. I'm excited to see what Season 3 has in store for us, and it's really the only Star Wars project I can think of off the top of my head that I'm really interested in seeing.
I do think we're going to get a really interesting Bo-Katan arc in Season 3. We're going to see her upset. We're going to see her disappointed that she's not the wielder of the Darksaber, and we're going to see her grow and have to overcome that. And ultimately, you guys all know, Bo-Katan and Din Djarin will be allies. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, I can totally see her being a little whiny, just like a woman.
The Acolyte is filming. Finally. This was one of those projects that many fans didn't think would ever happen. According to Bespin Bulletin, The Acolyte began filming early this week at Shinfield Studios in Berkshire and will continue until May in time to debut on Disney Plus in 2024. Other filming news comes from Bespin Bulletin also. The second season of Andor is set to begin filming next month in the UK, with production running until August. Ahsoka is nearing the end of production. It may have even wrapped at this point. Skeleton Crew will continue to film until December, and there's rumblings that the fourth season of The Mandalorian is gearing up to start filming at the Manhattan Beach Studios in November. Nick, that is a lot of Star Wars going down on the small screen. Wow.
Yeah, man, it really seems like they're really pushing the TV show aspect of stuff and not really doing a whole lot with movies. I miss the big events of a Star Wars movie being in theaters. Hopefully we'll get something at some point in time. Ahsoka I'm looking forward to, obviously. Fourth season of Mando sounds good, of course. Andor season 2, I could take it or leave it, at this point. In the Acolyte, good God, I like this concept, but the people involved, man, I just have no faith in that show being watchable at all. Yeah. But who knows? Maybe it'll surprise us. Maybe we'll check it out and be like, wow, this is actually really good. But I'm not holding my breath on that one for sure.
That's just kind of where we are as a fandom. Like, I have a desire for all of that to be great. The likelihood of it all being great is very minuscule. It's probably not going to happen. But I want it to be great,
Yeah, if you can't get Kenobi right, how are you going to get this other stuff right,
Ooh, you're on fire today.
Like, come on, man.
Yep, true. The real-life Ahsokas finally met. Rosario Dawson and fan favorite Ashley Eckstein, who is the voice of Ahsoka Tano in all animated adventures, have finally met in real life on the set of Ahsoka. She was just lovely. We just really hit it off, which I knew we would, Eckstein told the Dagobah Dispatch podcast about meeting Dawson for the first time. I've been waiting to meet her for 3 years, and I was so excited. The actress recalled a few days before her new Ahsoka project, Tales of the Jedi, was released on Disney Plus. It was such an incredible moment. There was a rumor that Ashley would make a cameo on the Ahsoka series, but she confirmed that she was only there for a visit and currently has no plans to cameo in the series. But she went on to say she would love to if the opportunity presented itself. With her relationship with Filoni, I think it's only a matter of time, and honestly, I think it would be a great moment for Star Wars for the executives to honor Eckstein and all of the great work that she's done.
So the Ashley Eckstein comment of confirming, denying if she's making a cameo, that sounded like total NDA talk right there. Like, she shows up on set and they're just not going to just put her in a cameo. It would be so easy for them to do. But I'm sure that she's not allowed to talk about it. So I'm predicting right now that we are going to get a cameo from her. And at some point in time during the show, she's probably just not allowed to talk about it and say, you know how secretive Disney is with stuff like that. So I totally expect us to see her at some point in time in that show.
Yeah, I do too. She's been calling for that for a while. She's been calling to be on the live production side of Star Wars. I would definitely be in favor of seeing her. I love Ashley Eckstein. I think she's awesome. She's wonderful. She walked by me at a convention and like the room just stood frozen for everybody as she walked through. Anyways,
and Filoni is a huge fan of hers. So
they're friends.
Of course he's not going to put her in there. But it is cool that her and Rosario Dawson finally got to meet. I like Rosario Dawson's portrayal of an older, more seasoned Ahsoka, at this point in time. I'm just curious if she's been around this whole time. Where was she during the rebellion against the Empire? Because George Lucas said she's dead. Filoni, of course, brought his baby back, and she's still alive. So, is there going to be an explanation behind that on why she wasn't involved in that fight against the Empire? Because at the end of Tales of the Jedi, we see her deciding to come back and get back in the fight against the Empire. Did she just suddenly just decide to stop fighting against them, or is she doing it somewhere else? That's what I'm curious about.
Well, back to the Ashley and Rosario part of it, the two actresses have been very friendly in discussing each other in the news and in media and in interviews. Ashley praised Rosario Dawson's portrayal of Ahsoka, because at one time, Ashley Eckstein was the only person to ever play Ahsoka, and Rosario Dawson has done the same thing, talked about the greatness of Ashley Eckstein, what a great job she's done, and it's really cool that the two finally got to meet and hit it off really well. I like that.
Yeah, but she was hurt a little bit not being cast as the real life Ahsoka. That had to have bothered her.
Oh, 100%.
At least a little,
Yeah, she talked about that. That's out there, but that doesn't mean that she's going to take it personally against Rosario Dawson. And she didn't.
Absolutely not.
In our next bit of news, the 10-year anniversary for the Disney purchase of Lucasfilm happened this week. It may be painful, but let's take a look back at when the purchase happened. And here's what the EW reported 10 years ago. Veteran producer Kathleen Kennedy, who recently became co-chairman of Lucasfilm, will become the studio's president, reporting to Disney Studios chairman Alan Horn. She will executive produce the future Star Wars films, with Lucas serving as a creative consultant. In a video released by Disney, Lucas says he and Kennedy have already been working on future Star Wars films with unspecified writers. We have a large group of ideas and characters and books and all kinds of things, Lucas said. We could go on making Star Wars for the next 100 years. Nick, when I read Lucas's comments, and when I look back at this 10 years ago, never would have I imagined that Star Wars would be in the position that it's in right now. It's painful for me to read Lucas's words. They had such an opportunity, and they squandered it by showing the great George Lucas the door, pretty much.
Yeah, it's almost like instead of a 10-year celebration, more like a 10-year funeral. Like George kind of being kicked to the curb, his outlines being tossed in the trash, them running off doing their own thing, pissing him off. It's just, God, man, it's been so mismanaged so badly. And it's just, I wish that things would have been different. So at this 10-year mark, we'd be celebrating the 10-year buy of Star Wars and all the great Star Wars we've gotten. But the reality is it just hasn't all been great. Some of it's been good and some of it's been great. But for the most part, the vast majority of it, to me, in my viewpoint, is it's just not been good at all.
And 2 days ago, on the actual day of the 10-year anniversary, there was very little being mentioned on social media.
I heard nothing.
It was there, anything. But it was very little. You know? And it's just, it tells you the state of that Star Wars is in right now.
Yeah. And even the fans that are fine with what they've been doing, I mean, there's no denying that it's in a bad spot, and so many people are just not happy, and it's not like we're just coming on here just to be bitching about stuff, just to bitch, it's actual, we're fans, we're passionate fans. We care about this IP, that we care about this franchise, we care about these characters. And, when we don't think it's going well, fans in the fandom are going to voice their opinions about it. And it is what it is.
And in our final news story of the day, is Lucasfilm worried about the next Star Wars movie? Industry insider Matthew Baloney broke the news last week that Kathy Kennedy has been silenced, specifically saying that Star Wars and Disney executives now have a culture of fear and indecision. Many fans will be happy to know that Baloney also reported that the company internally acknowledges that the sequel trilogy was rushed to meet aggressive release dates. Baloney also explains how even Kathy Kennedy acknowledges mistakes that she's made, saying, "From jettisoning most of original writer Michael Arndt's ideas and essentially remaking A New Hope with The Force Awakens, to freaking out and bringing back director J.J. Abrams and the villainous Emperor for Rise of Skywalker, after some fans complained about Johnson's mythology-busting choices in The Last Jedi, choices that Kennedy had enthusiastically supported, right up until she didn't. Disney essentially has to reintroduce Star Wars, while Star Wars is also constantly on television. This is a very tough task, or a very big hole she has dug for herself. Depending on your perspective, far tougher than simply saying yes to these Disney Plus series." Was Kennedy screwed by Bob Iger when he said Disney will release one Star Wars movie every year? That's an interesting thought, and may have some truth to it. The Direct summed it up best, saying, "George Lucas made his Star Wars movies out of passion. He considers each of them his children. The reason Lucas's films appealed to so many audiences was because he had a story to tell. So long as Lucasfilm and Disney are trying to pump out product rather than introduce worthy stories, they'll never capture the same magic the maker did. Tossing out his ideas will never help either. Lucasfilm and Disney are right to be worried about the next movie. If the next cinematic Star Wars experience is a bad one, or maybe even an average one, it could be the final nail in the coffin for Star Wars movie magic."
Yeah, so wow, the next movie, man, I don't know what they're going to do, but the people that it seems like the leaks on who they're involving with, I can't remember the guy's name, Lindelof, and I can't remember the other lady's name. It just doesn't seem like a good pair of people to do the next movie. Their resume isn't that great. So I don't know what they're doing. I think Robert Meyer Burnett said it best in our Star Wars sequel trilogy documentary. If you haven't watched it, go watch it on our YouTube channel. But he talked about, George Lucas being an individual creator and how all this came from one person's mind, onto the screen, and with a team of people, the story took shape and took form, but it was from a single creator, and now it's a corporate, monopoly of Star Wars, and it's all these people, all these hands in the cookie jar, and it's not coming from one person. There's, instead of doing a good story, that they now are thinking about, is there enough diversion and inclusion for minorities and stuff in it, merch sales, and all that. So there's so many other things that are tied into what they're doing other than just making a good story and being creative to do that. So with Disney being a corporation and this in Star Wars kind of turning corporate, I don't have a whole lot of faith in them moving forward with a whole lot. And the thing is, it's funny because, if you look back on a lot of George's comments, he wanted to own his own company, do his own thing, and be separate from the corporations. And he strived for that, and he made that a reality. And then he turned it over to the corporations. The one thing that he was trying to not become and stay out of. Eventually he obviously Lucasfilm and LucasArts did become its own corporation, but he was the head of it. Now you got shareholders and executives and all these other people involved, and it just makes for a huge mess. And so I don't know. I'm hoping that the magic of Star Wars returns to the big screen, but until I see it, I'm in the same boat as I am with a lot of the upcoming shows. I just don't have a whole lot of faith until they change my mind and I actually see it and it's actually great and up to that Star Wars level bar of greatness. This stuff shouldn't be average or okay or not that bad. Like, we should just be getting great stuff to where, word of mouth is like, man, everybody needs to go see this. So I don't know. Time will tell. We'll see what happens.
Well, I definitely think that Lucasfilm has wised up if they are, in fact, nervous about the next Star Wars movie. They should be nervous about it. They should be reluctant about it. It has to be great. Because I see this two different ways, Nick. One, when the sequel trilogy happened, when Rise of Skywalker happened, when I left the theater that moment, that was the very beginning of a very fast and drastic drop-off in Star Wars. So many people hit the exit doors. So many people left. So many people left Star Wars and they haven't come back yet. And there's more people today, in my opinion, leaving Star Wars than new people coming in. Star Wars is not growing. It is declining. So then Mando comes out and gives it some more hope. After that steep decline with Rise of Skywalker, Solo, and The Last Jedi, which obviously I flipped those on accident. And then Mando comes. Mando Season 1, Season 2, it's coming back up. And now what's happened is after Mando Season 2, we've gotten very marginalistic, average, not a whole lot of interest, Book of Boba Fett, Kenobi, Andor, and in my opinion, Star Wars is on now a slow decline. It's slow. Yeah. It's slow. It's slow. And a bad movie could kill it. A bad movie could kill it. The next movie has to be great. We've said it all along. We were like, Kenobi's got to be great to recover. It wasn't. It wasn't. And we're still in this slow decline. I don't want to see Star Wars declining. I want this thing to come back up. That's what we're waiting for.
Yeah, and if you go back to Mando Season 2, the vast majority of fans were all on the same page of the greatness of the return of Luke Skywalker. There were some out there that was like, oh, this is just, member berries, they're just using Luke, But for the vast majority of fans, people loved that moment, that end of that season. Obi-Wan Kenobi, fans were divided on. Book of Boba Fett, fans were divided on. Andor, fans are divided on. I'm ready for something to where all fans can get behind it, and very few people are really bashing or trashing on it.
I want to see it. I'm waiting for that moment. Please happen. Yeah. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for being here at Echo Base Network with Coach and Nick. Man, we are so glad that you guys are here. Make sure that you join us every Saturday night at 7 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time as we have a live Star Wars show for you. And we have watch parties, and we have member pop-ins on the show, and all kinds of stuff. Keep coming back for more Star Wars news. We do Star Wars all the time. As we always say here, we are, you are, Echo Base Network. May the Force be with you, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
See you guys.